Welcome to another episode, Chat Sports Talk, and welcome to the 2023 NFL playoffs. That's right, NFL regular season is done. There's already been some shocking news in the coaching world. And we get to dive into this super wild card weekend with a bunch of critical games out there. We kind of go over a little bit of last week's picks, how well I did, and whatnot. But before I dive into all of that, I'd like to apologize to those who actually watched my videos a little more religiously. I failed to get one out for the college football playoff championship game. And there's a reason for that. I've been battling an illness pretty much the entire week. As soon as I get better, that's when I recorded last week's NFL video. I was better then, and then I got hit again that entire weekend where I was pretty much out of commission. Good times had by all, to tell you the truth. I'm still kind of recovering from it now, so at least I'm on a good aspect where I'm hopefully on the tail end of it. You might see some really bad editing because I'm trying to, not cough too much. And that's basically, the deal of it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and look at what I did last week. Now, last week, I did pick a lot of games that had no meaning whatsoever in terms of the final standings. Some of them just pecking order, or some of them just, second stringers, maybe even third stringers a chance to play, so they can, test out the depth for the playoffs, for runs. So a lot of games I picked one way or another, and some teams decided to show up and play. Others just didn't go the way I thought, and they ended up going 9-7, which is not bad. Final week of the season, if anyone goes perfect this time frame, they know something. But there definitely was a lot of games out there that had a lot of playoff implications embedded into it. A lot of it had to do with seeding. So let's look at last Saturday action over there on ESPN. We start the game down in Baltimore between the Ravens and Steelers. Ravens had nothing to play for, and they had everyone seat locked up. They had, everything was to play for, so everyone else was sitting. And they had a lot of players sitting, and still Baltimore was too much for Pittsburgh. Now, Mason Rudolph has revitalized his career once again. And he was a very steady performer for most of this game. They had a great first drive. And then Baltimore was able to, Huntley was able to do a nice run and tie it up in the first half. So the second half was where the final quarter, actually, that's when finally the Steelers took the advantage. Ended up winning 17-10, giving them a shot at a playoff position. Like I said, did nothing to Baltimore. On the other end, you have Indianapolis with Houston and Indianapolis, and winter is in, and no one saw this one coming. They both had rookie quarterbacks they drafted. Houston has C.J. Stroud, who has probably one of the best rookie debuts. I mean, he ended up finishing with over 4,000 yards passing, which is unheard of. And he was out for 2 games. The Colts had Richardson, who, even though he got injured, taken out for the rest of the year. But these are 2 teams that were starting to get the talent in place, and probably a year ahead of schedule. I don't think anyone had them going to the playoffs just yet. I certainly didn't. I thought they'll have a good seasons where they get 6-7 wins. Nowhere this 9-10 win mark. But here you go. These 2 go at it. I picked Indianapolis because they're their home team. Houston wasn't having any of that. That Texans defense played havoc to Minshew, but the Texans were able to hold off. Guaranteed their position in the postseason by beating the Colts 23-19 and had a opportunity to win the South, depending on what happened in Jacksonville. Then Sunday, you had the Browns going to Bengals. Browns said all their starters. There was no brainer. It was Bengals. Bengals ended up winning that one. The Vikings went into Detroit. I figured Detroit would set their starters. They didn't. That's going to hurt them. Their rookie tight end, Sam Laporta, gone with a knee injury. Campbell got a little too aggressive and is going to bite them in the end, I think. I don't think they wanted to lose at home to the Vikings. I think that's part of what it was, but Lions had nothing else to play for. They had nothing on the line. They were guaranteed number 3. They weren't moving from that position. There was no need for them to put their starters in those positions. I would have sat them, but that's just me. I'm more of a conservative coach when it comes to that. Lions ended up winning, but what is it going to cost them in the playoffs? Nashville. We had the Titans playing host to the Jaguars. Jaguars needed to win this one to win the division. Titans have nothing to lose. Vrabel's on their impression that if I'm not going, there are you. And Jacksonville's been playing pretty bad lately. Of course, Trevor Lawrence has not been 100%. So, there is that little caveat there, but the team overall has not played. Losing Kirk has really disrupted this offense altogether, and it showed. The defense did not step up for the Jaguars. Derrick Henry was actually very impressive in this game, which could be his final game in Nashville. He had over 150 yards rushing and a touchdown. I mean, Calvin really tried to help out Trevor Lawrence. He had over 100 yards receiving. But in the end, it wasn't too much. I mean, they were stopped short of goal line towards the end of the game, and that was it. The Titans up in the Jaguars, destroying eliminating them from the playoffs, and handing the South to the Houston Texans. That's right, Houston will not be hosting a playoff game. And then the following days later, Vrabel has been let go as a head coach of the Tennessee Titans. You might be very attuned to find a new home pretty quickly. He's just one of those coaches you're not going to let go too long. Head up to New England, where the Jets came to town. I figured this would be New England winning this one. Jets were just too much, and as I am recording this video, Bill Belichick and the Patriots have parted ways. He is 24 years he has been coaching up in New England. 9 Super Bowl appearances, winning 6 of them. This is a feat I think no one will ever repeat again. Bill Belichick has put himself down as the ultimate coach. I mean, he doesn't have the win totals, but he has the titles. Part up there with Carlo Lemieux and Vince Lombardi. Don Shula in terms of victories. I mean, it is the amount of greatness that this man possesses. Love or hate him, he knew how to get the best out of his players. He got guys who are looking for that one last time to taste championship, and he'll get the best out of them. But this is part where Vrabel probably ended up going back to his old stomping grounds up there in New England. But, that's that. And then we head down to New Orleans, where the Falcons are coming into town. Just kind of look at my notes here, try to figure out who I originally picked. I think I picked the Saints anyways. Because, the Saints was looking at this one. They need this. They need to win Carolina to win for them to win the division, which wasn't the case. And if they won, other teams had to lose for them to get in. So the Saints had a slimmer hope. James Winston is a fine quarterback. Towards the end, I mean, he had Derek Carr that had up 4 touchdowns. They put on James towards the end. The biggest thing they went after is, in the game, they had doing figure formation at the goal line, and they end up running a running play to give their Miller his first ever NFL touchdown. The team decided to override the coach, which has sent shockwaves throughout the sporting world. With Shannon Sharp talking about cutting James Winston right then and there. And then you had other players that kind of backing James Winston because they understood the whole aspect of, that it was a team thing. It wasn't just him. He didn't run for the touchdown. He gave it to someone else. But then you saw the head coaches just, at the end of the game, just go at each other. Wouldn't save the Atlanta coach anyways. He was fired not so long after that game for a very bad season they've had. Possible landing spot for Bilechek if he still wants to coach, because they have the talent there. He's finding, I think, the right quarterback, or get the right motivation out of the quarterback. But looking at this game, yeah, you can say you ran up the score. Sure. Yeah, definitely. Going after James Winston, he wasn't the only one that said anything. I mean, he put it up to the rest of the team. They said, no, let's give him the touchdown. The players have backed James Winston on that play. The coaches haven't said much of anything. Other analysts have kind of made their 2 cents known. Others just kind of put a different spin on it. But end of the day, I do think it's a bad call, but I'm not a player. It's cool that Miller was ever get his first touchdown. Ever. Maybe, I don't know. To me, I think it'll probably feel better if it was in an actual game or a play that actually meant something. The defense wasn't really set up for it, but they kind of gave up anyways. You can tell by the score. But anyways, I'm not going to continue on this subject. I didn't like the call, but I'm not getting rid of James Winston because he showed true leadership and making sure one of his players got accolade he never received. On the other side, you had the Buccaneers going to Carolina, and it was an ugly game. Ugly. Didn't matter. The Bucs didn't run pretty. They just need the W. They got it. Shut out the Panthers 9-0. Baker Mayfield got his bonus, taking the Buccaneers to the playoffs as NASCAR division champions. Yeah, the Lambeau Field, where the Packers, once again, last game of the season, win and they're in. So what happened last year with the Lions came to town to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and the Lions ended up beating the Packers. I looked at this, I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for Chicago to do the exact same thing and maybe, duplicate the Lions' success this year or next year. The Bears couldn't find the end zone. It's been part of the problem most of the season. Their offense does not seem to correlate anything. Jordan Love was just cool, calm, collective, over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. As Jordan Love, unlike Aaron Rodgers' last game, Jordan Love in his first game, his opportunity to get into the playoffs, did it. Beat the Bears and got into the playoffs. After that, the entire Bears offensive coaching staff has been let go. Eberflus has been retained, or will keep his seat for 1 year at least, which part means his seat is already cooking. Rumors are the Bears are probably going to look to draft Caleb Williams. Don't go out there and find a decent offensive coordinator. Cliff Kingsbury, it's a possibility. Uh, the Baltimore's OC, who was there for Kaepernick and Lamar Jackson. Brian Leftwich is another possibility. Brian Greasy. I mean, there's a few OCs out there you could probably pick up that can help Justin Fields reach the next level. Trade the number 1 pick for a bunch of other picks. Don't fall too far in the draft. Pick up Marvin Harrison. Build the offensive line. Plug the holes in defense. And move on from there. We'll see what happens moving on, but see what Green Bay does in the postseason. Then the Raiders and Broncos, no one really cares. I picked the Raiders. Raiders won. Giants and Eagles. I was going to pick the Eagles in this game, but the last video called it audible. The Giants gave all the Eagles they could handle the first meeting, and then they almost beat the Rams last week, or a week after that, and then playing the Eagles again. So I figured the Giants would come out there not giving anything, take it to the Eagles. And they did. Also, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown got banged up at the end of this game. So it's questionable how well they will perform coming up. But the Giants end up beating the Eagles 27-10, guaranteeing the Cowboys the division. And for like the 20th straight season, no repeat champions in the NFC East. Seahawks and Cardinals. Seahawks had to rally to beat the Cardinals. I picked the Cardinals in this matchup. And that's a couple days ago. Pete Carroll and the Seahawks have parted ways. After 14 years, there's nothing. Pete Carroll decided to step away. Heard that Dan Quinn has been rumored to take over the job up there in Seattle. Then Chiefs and Chargers go at it. The Chiefs had a lot of players, so I figured the Chargers would win. And no. Blaine Gabbert, there's that name correctly, stepped up to lead the start for the Chiefs. Stick was still leading the charge with the Chargers. Ugly game. Chiefs held on to win 13-12. Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold were going head-to-head up there in Santa Clara between the Rams and 49ers. And Carson Wentz actually had a rushing touchdown to lead the Rams to the victory over the 49ers. But these teams are already in. They weren't moving anywhere. 49ers were number 1. The Rams are stuck at number 4. Or number 5, excuse me. Nothing to go there. Cowboys, Commanders. This one's definitely going to be Dallas all day long. Washington is just terrible. Cowboys roll 38-10, won the East, and probably have a pretty easy path through the NFC playoffs. And then Sunday night game between the Bills and Dolphins. Thanks to other aspects, the Bills were in. I mean, that's thanks to the Jaguars losing. And the Colts losing, it made sure that the Bills were in. Now it was determined who's going to be the number 2 seed. How things got played off. Because if Miami would beat Buffalo stayed there the next week to play the Dolphins. If not, Miami had to go to Kansas City. And then the Bills would get the Steelers. The Bills struggled early. Josh Allen, I think, was probably trying to do too much. You see Stephon Diggs getting a little animated by not getting the ball. So I think he won't be there at the end of the season. Because by the time Josh Allen's able to throw a ball, he's already on the run away from the Stephon Diggs area. So he's not seeing much of anything. Jalen Ramsey pretty much had him on lockdown anyhow. So, trying to find ways to get the best out of the thing. And Josh Allen was doing his best John Elway impression. That's who he reminds me of, is a John Elway. Where it's an ugly run, but it runs. It's hard to take down. Remember, John used to get hit, do helicopters. Josh Allen's out there running people over like he's a linebacker, a fullback running the ball, just pounding his way through. And the Bills' defense stepped up when it could, disrupted Miami enough, and the Bills win to Miami, shocked the Dolphins, repeat as AFC East champions, 21-14. Giving me my 9th win, finishing them up 9-7, setting the stage for the wild card weekend. Now let's look into that super wild card weekend. That's right, we got a bunch of games slotted. 3 fun, full days of adventure. And let's start things off. The 3:30 kickoff in Houston between the Texans and the Browns. Now this should be a really interesting matchup. These two faced off earlier in the year. Cleveland was too much for them. I was supposed to be, Deshaun Watson returning and Houston clapping back, but him getting hurt at the end of that game. So now Joe Flacco comes to town. And the Joe Flacco Browns has been a different type of story for that offense. But C.J. Stroud has been a wonderful, wonderful pick for the Houston Texans. Over 4,100 yards passing and 23 touchdowns with only 5 picks. Who would have thunk that? I mean, really. If he does not get votes for the MVP, there's something wrong. I'm not saying he should win it. I think that's Lamar's. But he should get votes for the MVP. I even actually get votes for the MVP too. He's definitely should be Offensive Rookie of the Year, hands down. Just the way he's able to assert himself, the way he's in command of the team. He has a true bearing of the game. I mean, as my eye is just going nuts right now. He's been phenomenal. I mean, I didn't give a lot of with him, Bryce Young. I didn't think very highly of him because I thought they came out of very good systems that probably wouldn't mean well. But I say that about a lot of quarterbacks coming up. So, with that being said, looking at Flacco, taking this young Houston, Texas team that's looking to really make a name for themselves, taking on this Raleigh group of veterans, taking on that huge Browns defense anchored by Myles Garrett. Right now, Cleveland's favored by 2.5. I like that. I think this will be close, but I do think Cleveland just has too much in terms of defense for Houston to overcome. They will make some plays. C.J. Stroud will no doubt find ways to make plays. But the veterans of the offense and defense for the Browns should be more than enough to slip out of Houston with the W. And then that night, good luck trying to find this game because it's only on Peacock. Another exclusive game for a streaming service. So I don't know how much money NFL is going to lose in this aspect, but this will have the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City. The Cheetah returns to the Plains. Can he run at temperatures near freezing? It's going to be a cold, cold night out there in Kansas City. Can Mahomes and the Chiefs receivers finally start making catches? There's just so many issues right now with Kansas City. There's some dinks in the armor for the Dolphins. Who's going to come out on top? It's really hard for me to kind of, go against Patrick Mahomes, but looking at what happens with his receivers, Price has been a very good asset for him. Kelsey has all of a sudden disappeared. Maybe they get the running game going once again, but I think their running backs are out. Can Tua withstand that Chiefs front? The Chiefs defense is actually better than a lot of people give them credit for. But can they handle, the track and field team of the Miami Dolphins? That's going to be another key thing. Can Tua? Well, Tua will have the time to make those connections. Tyreek will always find ways to make people look silly. That's just how he does it. Right now, the line has the Chiefs by 4.5. I hate to go against Patrick Mahomes in this aspect, but I'm taking Miami to win in the shocker. I think it's just I think Tua's going to find ways to connect with Tyreek and Waddle and find ways to get going. Maybe the running attack for the Dolphins can actually, pick up those pieces, but we'll see how things kind of play out from here. Then Sunday, we head up to Orchard Park where the Bills play host to the Steelers. And we're looking at below freezing, in the 20s for this game. And I think it's part of the most favorable matchup the Bills have this postseason. As my eye, it continues to play havoc on me. And looking at this one, if the Bills can have their team continue to thrive and have Cook continue to run, the Bills' defense step up when they have to. Josh Allen has a very productive day. I have a feeling that T.J. Watt's probably not going to be available, so it's going to make Josh Allen's game a little bit better. Maybe get Stephon Diggs back into the swing of things. Get him a touchdown or two. Right now, the line has the Bills by 10. I think that's a little optimistic in terms of these two. The Steelers should make this close. I think the Bills' defense got Mason Rudolph more needing to handle. I think the Steelers are probably in over the head. They're just happy to be here. Another winning season for Mike Tomlin. But I think it's going to be a one and done for the Steelers, and I'm also going with the Bills. Then the afternoon game, we have the Jerry's World, where the Cowboys play host to the Packers. Mike McCarthy go against his old team. Can Dallas beat a quality team? A winning team? They always seem to struggle against winning teams. But they beat Philadelphia and Detroit this year. And Detroit was at home. That Detroit game has some few issues on itself. But we've seen Dallas struggle at home in the playoffs. And clock management issues against the 49ers that cost them dearly. But this Cowboys team is just running at a different level. Prescott and CeeDee Lamb have they just mind melded, and they're on the same wavelength. Can they do that? Can the Packers' running attack disrupt the Dallas defense? That's been their Achilles heel, is the run. This is going to be close. Right now, the line has it at Dallas by 7.5. No. This is going to be like the Detroit game. This is going to be close. Jordan Love is a lot better than I think a lot of people give him credit for. He's going to struggle because this is his first playoff game. But they're going to come back. The Packers defense is good. Can McCarthy beat his old team? Oh, yes. I do think he can. I think the Cowboys will win this game. But it's going to be by 3. I think it's going to come close to, once again, it'll probably be a last-second field goal, but I am going with the Cowboys winning it at home, knocking off the Packers. Then we head to the Motor City where the Rams and Lions collide, and this is an interesting concept. Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford battling their former teams. It's weird that Jared Goff was traded to Detroit for Matthew Stafford, and then the Rams won the Super Bowl with Stafford. They went with Goff and couldn't win. So this one definitely interesting. The problem I see with this particular game is that the Rams put too much on the line against the Vikings, and it could hurt them. Now, St. Brown's still Goff's favorite receiver, so I'm sure he's going to make a few key receptions. Williams is a huge factor in that Lions running attack. However, Matthew Stafford has plenty of weapons. Nakio and Cup have been phenomenal for him. Right now, the line has it as the Lions by 3. This is the worst case scenario for Detroit. Finally getting in the playoffs, winning the division, hosting a playoff game, something they haven't had happen in a very, very long time. Fortunately, I think they're going to find themselves one and done. I think Matthew Stafford's going to come in there and bowl his behind off. I don't know to spite the Lions, but I think he's going there to make a point. Jared Goff's going to try to make a point. I mean, this is going to be a close game between these two quarterbacks. They'll have some phenomenal throws, some questionable throws. That's just how these quarterbacks are. But I'll give it to the Stafford and the Rams, edging out the Lions and moving on to the divisionals. Then Monday night, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play host to the Philadelphia Eagles. Baker Mayfield getting a nice bonus with the taking the team to the playoffs, winning the division. So congrats to Baker. I mean, like I said, he's a very competent quarterback. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes he just kind of makes the wrong decision. A lot of times. And he likes to play hurt, which doesn't help. But with the health concerns of Hurst and Brown for the Eagles, there's question marks. The Eagles have struggled, losing 5 of the last 6 games. They could not get out of their own way. They had that collapse against the Cardinals that cost them pretty much everything. Jalen Hurts has been not himself. The offense is nowhere near what it once was. The defense is not holding up their end of the game either. Losing both coordinators, I think, really played a huge factor in this collapse. But Philly is my choice to win the Super Bowl. And I can't have them go this first round. Tampa Bay is going to be a stiff competition, but I think Philadelphia, if they get everything right, and everyone comes back healthy or healthy-ish. I mean, they have one extra day to get back in there. I think Philadelphia find ways to win this game. Edge out the Buccaneers. Like I said, they're favored by 3. I like those odds. I'm taking the Eagles to win Monday night. But there you go. Short and sweet. Those are the wildcard picks. I covered some of the coaching changes that have already transpired. Those that follow college football have realized that Nick Saban has also retired from Alabama. We'll see what happens with the Alabama football after that one, because you saw how long it took them to get back to relevance once Bear Bryant left. It took them a little while until Stallings got that team back up into the prominence and then disappeared again. But we'll see how that one transpires, especially in that new SEC with Oklahoma, Texas coming to town. But that's for a different video. Like I said, there's a lot of unique coaching aspects coming up there. Definitely some interesting choices for teams in the offseason, especially Chicago Bears like myself. Did they move on for Justin Fields and then throw him aside and pick up another rookie quarterback? We have no offensive line. Did the Giants go after a quarterback? What's Washington do? Who's their new head coach? Is Quinn bound for Seattle? Is Harbaugh coming out of the college ranks to coach the pros once again? I think his most likely landing spot's out there in L.A. anyways with the Chargers. But it sounds like he's staying put. Does Bilechek comes back with another team? If so, it's down Atlanta. Have a lot of young talent there. A lot of questions for teams heading this offseason. For the rest of the league, it's playoff time frame, one and done. You get the fight to keep on. My picks for Super Bowl is Philly over Buffalo. So they're both in the playoffs early in the season. But that Buffalo pick was a little sketchy for me. But they made it to the dance. They got home advantage until they have to go to Baltimore. So we'll see how that one transpires. And it should be fun, interesting weekend. Quick, down and dirty. And we'll see how things kind of pan out. But let me know down below what you think of these picks. What you think of the coaching vacancies that have now opened. And I'm sure more will come forward as the week progresses. And are your picks for the Super Bowl still available? So just let me know down below what you down there. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up. Doesn't bother you. It kind of helps me. Kind of helps this video out. Helps us, get this out to the ether. Let everyone enjoy my raspy voice talking complete nonsense about football. Also, you can subscribe. All you guys come in here and watch my stuff and aren't subscribed. It doesn't cost you anything. It really helps me provide more entertainment value for you. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn on notifications, know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.